Welcome to Custom Home Builders Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software for the professional home builder. This will be the continuation in a series of videos about posting payables bills, and this particular video will be about the alerts you will get if a trade's general liability insurance is expired. I'm going to click the button for Post Payables. And I'll click the button for Post New Payables Records. And if you have maybe some subcontractor agreement, etc., with the vendor that if you post a bill to pay them and their insurance, general liability insurance, shows that it's expired and for some reason they haven't given you a new insurance certificate, you have some agreement that you might be deducting some for general liability insurance from their check. I'm also going to show in this video the general ledger accounting number you use for that deduction and how you can review how much you withheld from trades based on how you have that set up. So let's select our demo vendor that we keep messing with. And always keep in mind that these are demos, and so I go back and change things just so I can demo things, etc. First of all, you would get a clue because over here it says alert, we need to get the general liability insurance certificate, and we put that in on 12/14/15 because we actually knew their insurance was expiring. Let's take a look at the vendor setup window just because. And we can see over here that we show it as expired 12/31/2015. We're actually doing this video towards the end of February 2016. You can also see that we will get an alert about workers' comp, but we're going to do that in the next video. So general liability insurance is expired. They do have enough liability. If you click this, you'll see what we have entered on our company master for what is required so that they're not considered too low on their insurance, where you might be deducting from them also. The reason a builder might deduct from a trade is because when they get their general liability insurance audit at the end of their policy period, they will probably be charged for trades, etc., that they did not have insurance or their insurance was expired, etc., during certain periods. We'll take a glance at that after we post this entry also to see the liability audit reports that are real handy for giving that auditor. So let's go ahead and post a bill for ABC Foundation. And it's checking for those alerts, etc., like we've seen before. It's probably going to give us a general liability and a workers' comp alert. It did. General liability is required or low, and deduct or workers' comp. We're going to not really be doing the workers' comp, but notice over here to the right, here's all the fields we've been discussing in all of our videos. But when I say yes, I do want to deduct from them for liability insurance, there's some other fields that opened up. I could do both liability and workers' comp at once, but I'm just going to demonstrate and talk about general liability in this video. So when I did yes, you saw some more fields on workers' comp open up. So let's close this. And in order to get the fields filled in quickly, we do use POs with this builder, purchase orders. So I'm going to, I can see that this much is outstanding. We paid $5,000, but I'm going to select this purchase order so that all my fields get filled in today, so we don't have to talk about that. It's telling me it has a duplicate invoice, and that's because CHS actually supplies an invoice number for you based on a little bit of information about the PO. You can just leave it alone, or you can type in your own invoice number, etc. But let's just do 10,000 so it's easy for us to see our amounts. And notice over here that we have these fields. And when we set up this vendor in the general liability, and you can look at vendor setup, we knew that the rate for foundation type labor was 2.54% that the insurance company might charge us for that kind of trade. I just made that up because it was one used for framing labor back when I worked as a comptroller. But you can get a list of the rates they're going to charge for the different kinds of trades. and attach that rate on the vendor setup window so that it'll drop in. And the reason for having this rate here is to figure out how much you might want to deduct, because that's how much the insurance company will be charging you for somebody not being insured. The first thing here is the general ledger liability, the general ledger number you want the entry for the deduction to be posted to. CHS will post this entry for $10,000 to the 1430 that's here for direct construction costs, and it will post a second entry for deducting the insurance from the vendor. And it will not post that to job costs, because you're going to come along and be paying this back out. So you don't give this credit to the job costs. You just let this, it'll go to the H, generic H job, and a zero cost code, meaning that it won't show up as part of the job costs or lowering the job cost, because this is a minus amount. We have set up, notice what happens if I drop down. I'll see that I did have 8232 insurance general liability, which is part of my office expenses, on my chart of accounts, but I've decided to go ahead, this is one of the first ones I've done, to have what I sometimes call a contra account right underneath it to say general liability insurance deducted from trades. That's because when I pay the insurance company themselves, I'll use this, and I'd like to keep it separated so it doesn't have all the minuses there, because I want to see what I've paid easily when I look at my general ledger accounts, and then I'd like to see right underneath that the minus amount for how much I deducted from trades, to see if I get close to deducting enough to cover what they're going to charge me for those uninsured trades. So I'm going to change this GL account number to this one, and notice what happens right after I do it. It says, is it okay to update this so that this GL number would drop in automatically the next time? And I'm going to say okay. What this means is, when you select to do this, CHS will look to see what GL number we have stored for deducting, and it'll just drop it in for us. And like you just saw, you could always change that. But next time I do the general liability insurance deduction, this GL number will drop in. So you can see down here we have total of 10,000 minus 254, and the amount we would end up paying ABC Foundation after this liability insurance deduction would be this amount, net due. So let's go ahead and submit that and take a look at the entries that it'll post. It's checking for any overages like we've seen in previous videos, and it didn't find any, which I'm not surprised. We just paid $10,000 on that PO, and the balance was $20,000 something. And let's just post this as unpaid to pay later, so we won't be dealing with posting a payment right now. And it would be part of our check run. But let's take a look at the posted entries that CHS posted here. You can see that here's the $10,000 for the slab contract, to the job, to the cost code. And I'm sorry, it does go ahead and put it to the job, but it does a zero cost code, so it won't show up on cost reports. And it's over here in this GL account. And if you hover over things, you can see these. What GL account? We have space issues, so we have things that we just hover over to see what's behind them. And I do put it to the job when it posts that entry, just because you might like to take an overall look at that job from your income statement. And also how much, this has a little bit to do with tracking how much cash has come in for the job. And this will increase our cash just a little bit. So it has this, but a zero cost code, so it will not show up on job cost reports that you might be showing to your home buyer, etc. It's not lowering that job cost report, and it's in a different GL than your normal work in progress GL. So that's how it posted those two things. Let's go look at our accounting general ledger to see how that looks to us over there. I've already opened it. That's actually this accounting database general ledgers, but I opened it before the video so I wouldn't have to retype dates. I just did the whole year of 2015 all the way to now. And I asked for that workers' comp. What? I need to ask for general liability that we paid to the insurance auditor. I was looking at something else for a second there. And how much we've deducted from trades. So let's just take a look at our database of accounting records. And we can see actually that in December we paid Capital City Insurance for general liability insurance. And I think I was just doing that in a demo and just randomly chose $1,600. And now we're starting to deduct from that. And if I did a report, just a little general ledger of these transactions that totals at the bottom, I can start seeing this one for how much I paid, and I can start seeing this one for how much I've deducted from various trades, and the net of those two. I guess the goal would be by the end of this next year when we pay that we've deducted enough in 2016. We could look at it to kind of see if we deducted enough from the payments throughout the year to be pretty close to what we have to pay the insurance auditor. So there's that, and there's one other thing I'd like to go to real quickly, which has to do with insurance and expirations. And I opened that menu, and I just typed in a policy period, because quite often it is July to June. And I'm going to open the general liability audit. And what CHS will do for you is go find anybody that has been checkmarked that general liability insurance is required, all the vendors, and it will show you amounts paid during the dates I put in. Not necessarily amounts, it won't have the amounts that are unpaid. So you can actually see that that $10,000 is not on here until I mark it as paid, but you can see other entries paid for general liability, and I just wanted to talk about this expiration. You can see that their expiration date is 12/31/15. This particular $5,000 was paid in September, so it's saying no, this was not expired when we paid this before the payment date, but these are showing up as expired. This would change a bit if you do get that insurance certificate and change this to 12/31/16 and reopen this. Now these would all be showing no. The other one down here, I don't have very much stuff in here for that period because this is a demo. We have a $300,000 that they have for their insurance at Contractor Services, which next time we posted any bills would cause a thing to pop up asking if we wanted to deduct insurance also, because they are undercovered. Basically, they don't have the required amount our insurance company is going to want us to have for liability from them. So this is showing a red yes here, and the reports that are available, and we'll come back and do closer videos about general liability insurance, but it's just interesting to know what's going on. You can see that ABC Foundation here, and it shows the insured amount of $5,000, but uninsured everything we paid after that. Total paid, that insurance rate, and this is an insurance calculation of the rate times this uninsured amount to start giving yourself an idea of, if you don't get things in, maybe you already are going to owe $141 or something to the insurance company that you might owe that. This is a way for you to preview, and then some of this is a great report to give your insurance auditor. You can see that an amount is being calculated for that contractor services because the liability amount is $300,000, and it's under this section called uninsured. So it's calculating an amount based on the total paid that we might have to pay the insurance company. So it has some pretty great reports over here. The other thing we talked about during our videos, again, is selecting cost types while you enter those bills. And this report, sometimes the insurance auditor wants to see how much was for labor and how much was for materials of the entire amount that was posted, and that has to do with the cost type that you attached. So anyway, you can see how busy CHS is about trying to help you with that general liability insurance, letting you know if it's expired, helping you do a deduction from the bill for that, so that when you go to select unpaid payables, you can see that ABC Foundation. If we just look at those unpaid payables and we select to pay the amounts we have posted, we selected to pay that one and that one, we'll end up paying $10,000 minus $254 to them. And you can see it says deduct liability insurance in the description. So anyway, I think that covers deducting general liability insurance and various reasons for how you handle it. And hopefully that helps. Thank you for watching.